You talked about problems before, and you position them in an interesting way. You're like, you should be asking for problems. You should be begging for problems, the right problems, not small problems, but big problems. And it's just like people think that you can out-earn problems, but business is literally solving larger problems.
Big problems.
The larger problem you solve, the more profits you get. So talk about your relationship with problems and how that's evolved over your entrepreneurship career.
Yeah, I mean, first off, like I think the first thing is the way I think of a problem is completely different than most people starting off, or really people that are like before their first million.
Okay.
Yeah. So like everything that I see that is not working out, I don't call them problems, I call them puzzles. And just that reframe right there, I mean, you felt it, right? Like it's like, oh, it's not a problem, it's a puzzle.
Just a silly little puzzle.
Yeah. What do you do?
Sued.
What do you do? Yeah. But what do you do with a puzzle?
You solve it.
Okay, perfect. Most people with a problem, they go, it's a problem, so I don't know what to do. With a puzzle, you try to solve it. It's fascinating how just the frame of that changes the relationship and energy you bring to it.
Wow.
So first off, I don't look at it the same way. Second, I realize that every puzzle that's produced in my life, as long as they're bigger and bigger, it means I'm doing the right thing. So I'm not saying it's good to be sued, but if you're being sued for bigger puzzles, then that might be an indication. Not that you shouldn't try to protect yourself, legal infrastructure, finance.
Oh yeah, that's random problem. Random puzzle.
Yeah. Random puzzle. It's a good catch. I think that there's that part of it. And then there's also like, that's my opportunity to grow. So like I have never changed, evolved, expanded when things were not puzzles. Zero. Is it like, there's no way, Brian, you wouldn't be sitting here if you didn't encounter some puzzles in your life. And whatever you want to achieve, I'm going to guarantee you it will not come to light if you don't deal with other puzzles. So right off the bat, they're almost required. And my relationship with them is thank you. And thank you, especially if they're really good and meaty, because I think of it as a worthy opponent. Like, dude, if you're executing and you're growing, yes, hey, welcome, worthy opponent, let's go, puzzle time. Right? And then you can actually get really creative about it. And that, I think what's funny is entrepreneurs, like that's actually our addiction. Our addiction is to encounter puzzles, problems, and overcome them. And if they weren't hard, guess what? We wouldn't do them. And I know that because if I said, hey man, let's go do some invoicing, you're like, no. I already know how to invoice, and if I don't want to do it because there's nothing hard about it.
Can I share? Okay, so I literally just went through this, and I was wondering what the hell was wrong with me. So we just threw like this huge event, and it was awesome. We did it great. We booked out these multi-million-dollar mansions in Cabo. We booked a yacht. We had all these people. We flew them out. It was a great time. It was our second event that we've ever done, and it was awesome. But I found that I got more satisfaction. I got more enjoyment out of planning the thing and getting the thing done with my team because it was a puzzle to solve, right? And I actually truly view those as puzzles. I was just like, okay, I want you on catering, you on this, you on this. And then I found that when I was actually experiencing the thing, I couldn't really be fully there, but without thinking about the next one. Because immediately my brain goes back to puzzle mode. I'm like, I'm not solving anything right now, therefore I feel
not useful.
I feel anxious. And you talked about, these sabbaticals and all this stuff. And you have this point in the book that hit me so hard. And it was about being addicted to chaos. Being addicted to chaos. And a lot of us call ourselves business owners. We're really self-employed. And we love chaos. Maybe we came up in chaos, and maybe chaos through just a bunch of action taken is what got us to our level of success today. And you talk about a story of an entrepreneur that just dips out and he's like, things are going really, really well.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave and take a vacation. I'm not going to tell my team about it at all.
Or something stupid.
Yeah. And then they're almost like, can you share this story? Because this is, I read it and I underlined it and I circled it. And I said, how many times has that been me where I create my own problems?
Yeah. I mean, what happens is most entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs because they can deal with a high level of uncertainty. That's why they're able to create, and other people that have jobs and 9-to-5s and work at the government or whatever, they admire. They're like, how did you do that? Like, I could never do that. I have all these responsibilities and I went to university so they're anti-risk, but what they're really saying is I'm anti-uncertainty. I need certainty. We go, If it's too certain, I'm bored.
Hate it.
The event's already been produced and I'm at it, and I'm thinking about how do we create the next thing, because that's got a lot of question marks around it.
I'm not stimulated.
Yes. So the challenge is that the thing that allowed us to become the person that is in business and successful can also be our Achilles heel. Because when things start going good, we have a tendency to grab a hand grenade and lob it into the business and decide, oh, it's Monday. I want to launch a new product line. I want to change our website. I want to change our vendor. I just hired 14 people. They're starting on Tuesday. Because like that feels good. Because yes, uncertainty, right?
Now I'm needed again.
Yes. So you're creating the pain to be able to feel needed. So I had a client, Trevor, and we were working together, and look, I taught him how to buy back his time. He ended up almost tripling his business. He was doing really well. And I get a text message from him, and he says, hey man, heading to, I think it was Thailand for like 6 weeks, disconnecting, not doing emails, SOPs are in place, gonna see how the team reacts. What part of you thinking owning a company is the CEO leaving for 6 weeks and disconnecting?
Yeah.
And I just said, hand grenade, ? And he's like, oh. And it was fascinating because he was self-sabotaging. Here's a big thing, Brian. Self-sabotage is beliefs around what would be true if you actually achieved your goal that are limiting beliefs that are from, honestly, our childhood. For example, some people have unconscious beliefs around being rich.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll say whatever word would freak them out: rich, effing rich, wealthy, ridiculously, like filthy rich. Maybe that's too much. I'm okay making $1 million, but I ain't cool making $1 billion. I'm not cool making $100 million. I'm not cool having supercars in my driveway. I'm not cool. One of my friends the other day, I live in a normal house. Why? Is that literally what you want? Well, I don't need that. Why? It's fascinating to hear the psychology and the resolution of why that is. And the reason why, and self-sabotage will always show up to cause us to never live into that bigger version of ourselves. Some people want to have an audience on social media. They don't realize they have a subconscious belief that if I was famous, that I would have to deal with stalkers, or if I was famous, people would be trying to steal my identity, or if I was, they're not aware it's going on, man. And yet, so what happens is when they're about to have a breakthrough moment, they get invited to keynote Tony Robbins, they get invited to get on a major stage or a major podcast, they drag their feet. They don't prep. They kibosh it, and they don't even know they're doing it. Just like my client Trevor was about to go self-sabotage his whole business because he didn't feel worthy of succeeding. Literally, when we got on the call, the next coaching call, and I started asking him what really came up, he told me, I didn't realize that I was scared to actually win. I was scared. Like, you say you want to do 10 million a year. There's beliefs that are probably there around what would that mean for your life, right? Responsibilities. Think about this. Now I'm at 10. Well, what if I get to 10 and I drop back down to 6 publicly?
Ooh.
It's all these weird, it's like standards. It's what if I lose the weight and put it back on? What if I build the audience and then get canceled? Dude, there's all these fears that people have, and until they address it, they won't even know that every time they're about to have a breakthrough, they will self-sabotage themselves back to the level that they believe they deserve.
Over and over again.
Over and over.
And it's funny that you say that, because it's a quote that I heard once before, where it's your greatest weakness is your greatest strength overused. So it's like people that are, I'm a people person, right? Well, then you can also become a doormat because you give so much that now it's just people take advantage. It's like your confidence can be your greatest asset, but then it also becomes cockiness when overused. So same thing with entrepreneurs.
Or you have a challenger mentality, and it's good in certain environments to challenge people, but you can't do it all the time because then you have people quitting.
Bingo.